All right, so once again, back at it with another video. All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I'd like to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. Okay, so we're about to go right back into the series that we've been speaking of some of Esau's lies. All right, so I want to start with. Hold on a second. The hell? Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and start with fair use statement, just in case the spirit has us go and refer to some videos. All right. It reads copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright uh, Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. Okay, so this, as I've said before, this applies to every video on this channel. The ones in the past, the one here today, and ones moving forward. All right. Not that Esau again. All right, not that esau-edom is about any kind of treaty that he's made. All right, or any agreement that he's put forth. He's not about honoring that. All right, but all right, just for him to go ahead and just for them, all right, the people, all right, to go ahead and build a testimony against themselves, I don't mind reading that. Okay, so let's start again with let's go here. Let's remind ourselves of Isaiah 25 and verse 7. It reads, and he, speaking of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'al Yahweh Shai, will destroy in this mountain, or this rulership, Esau-Edom's age, okay? He will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. All these lies are going to be torn down. All right, if you are deemed worthy from or by Yahweh Ba'al Yahweh Shai to listen to the complete truth, the 100% truth of these scriptures, you're going to find out a lot of things. All right. As far as a lot of the brothers are concerned, right, none of these things that we find out in this day are surprising. Right, but to the world, it may be. Okay. And even people that are outside of the truth are coming to recognize why the Lord has labeled these people the wicked. Okay, why they are called the devil and Satan. Okay, because they were put here to do the workings of the spiritual demon Satan. All right, they are not the spiritual demon Satan. They are the ones who were put here to do the workings of the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, and they don't even consider that that is an angel on the left-hand side of the Lord. All right. Okay, so he, or the spiritual demon Satan, okay, works for, if you want to put it that way, for Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right. And this is where they get their power from, the left hand side. All right. The unrighteous side. Okay. Uh, and what I mean is they act on these, they act contrary to the Lord, adverse to the Lord. Not that the spiritual demon Satan is out of line with the Lord. All right. The angels, everything obeys the Lord. All right. Even Esau-edom. Okay. All of us do. Okay. I'm trying not to go too deep into that because that can get kind of confusing. But when you come into the truth, all right, that is something that you learn. That the Lord, basically, that the Lord is omnipotent. All right. And what omnipotent means is he who holds sway over all things. All right. And it means that. All right. He holds sway over all things. This whole thing, this thing that we call life, all right, in these times, since this earth began till now, okay, is a learning lesson for the children of the Lord, right? The ones whom He loves. All right, this whole world was created for us. Okay, this is all a learning lesson. All right. So again, Isaiah 25:7, and He will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. All right, He's going to let you know whom Esau-edom is. He's going to let you know whom His children are, man. All right, who are the seed of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. Okay. The sons of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. And then you have, just like any movie, you have extras, which are these other nations. The two main characters in this movie of the Lords, if you want to put it that way, are Esau-edom, okay, and the children of Israel. Okay, the antagonist and the protagonist. All right. Anyway, before I go too far off, I do also want to visit 2 Corinthians 10:3 before we get started here, to speak more so on what we just read there in Isaiah 25. 2 Corinthians 10:3 reads, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai to the pulling down of strongholds." All these lies, all right, are strongholds, but some are more powerful than others. All right, Christianity is a stronghold. Islam is a stronghold. Everything that has the minds of the Israelites wrapped up in walking wayward or walking contrary to the Lord, it better be a stronghold. All right, it better be strong. Okay, so this is what we're speaking about, and this is, you can consider this video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai being a video that breaks down or pulls down strongholds, these lies. Okay, so let me read verse 5 really quickly. All right, 2 Corinthians 10:5, it says, "Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself." Let me start all over. I get kind of, all right, hype while I'm reading these scriptures. This thing is beautiful, man. All right, so again, 2 Corinthians 10:5, "Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Messiah." All right, pulling down all these lies, knocking them down. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about something really quickly here. Okay, the next few screenshots that I had in this back and forth with Google AI. Oops. Okay, so now today what we're gonna address slightly is this Middle East thing. Okay, the thing that they call the Middle East. So what I typed in here to Google was, or is, or was, right, was, isn't the Middle East, all right, with quotes around it, all right, isn't the Middle East also a made up term when speaking of ancient times, due to there being no land called the Middle East? And this is the reply we got back, okay? It says, you are absolutely correct. The term Middle East is a modern geopolitical invention that did not exist in ancient times. These are things that we have learned to consider when you have the right elders, apostles, and teachers in front of you. Okay. One of the things that they always say is you have to know the history in order to understand the mysteries. Okay. This world walks around here. What I mean by the world is, all right, most people walk around here thinking that they know what's in these scriptures. And they may even know a few verses. There's a lot of people who know these scriptures like the back of their hand, but do they have understanding? Do they have the Holy Spirit working with them? Do they have the spirit and power of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai working along with them to give them the deeper meanings of these things? Or do they just memorize chapter, verse, text, or chapter, book, chapter, verse, right? So there's a lot of people that walk around that know way more of these scriptures than I do. Okay, and I'm not boasting in this at all because I barely know anything, right? But the small things that I do know that differ from these other beliefs, right, are way more valuable than knowing the whole scriptures the way that they do. What I'm saying is that they memorized it, yes, they do, and then they applied their own thinking. They leaned on their own knowledge, which is what the scriptures warn against. The scriptures tell you not to lean on your own knowledge, man. Okay? Thy own understanding, excuse me. All right, Proverbs 3 and 5. All right, trust in the Lord, Yahweh Ba'al Yahweh Shai, with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Okay, which is why people have a hard time learning. The Lord has blocked them. The Lord has made them hard-hearted. All right, they think they don't have to learn anything. They think that what they know is the right way. But when you apply what they think they know to the scriptures, what it does is leads to more questions. Even if you take in the whole role, there's a lot of things in there that are left to the imagination rather than um, asking the old paths like it tells you to do, and then finding teachers, okay, and wearing out their doorsteps, okay, being constantly in front of them, getting uh, what is that? Okay, getting edification, okay. So the little bit of nuggets that I know, okay, which is very small compared to a lot of the brothers in this truth, okay, it's still way more than what someone else who is who some of these people are considered scholars in this thing, okay, but really they don't know anything. This path leads to answers, of course, through the spirit and power of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. You have to read, study, you have to listen. Again, listening, okay, is a spiritual power. You realize that when you come into this. You see how people just ignore. They can't listen. All right, the Lord has blocked them. They can't hear it, even if they wanted to. If the Lord doesn't want you to understand, you're not going to. Okay? I hope that wasn't too confusing. But anyway, again, Proverbs 3 and 5. This is key. Trust in the Lord Yahweh Ba'al Yahweh Shai with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Okay? So again, what we learned about in this truth is going to go look things up instead of leaning onto your own understanding and thinking that you know something. All right, you have to put off the things that you think that you've learned in this world, man. All right. If you think you know something in the scriptures and you find out that later on from the men of the Lord that what you thought was true ends up being true, that's fine. But don't just take what you know and run with it. All right. You have to become like a child. All right. You have to forget the things of this world, put that shit away, and be eager to learn. All right. Be ready to be disciplined if need be. But you have to look at what the discipline is doing with you. It's making you grow in spirit. Okay. So let's get on with this. All right. So again, it said, you are absolutely correct. The term Middle East is a modern geopolitical invention that did not exist in ancient times. It is an Eurocentric label that describes a region solely based on its position relative to Europe. Here is the breakdown of why that term is considered historically inaccurate and how it obscures the true identity of the land and its people. Number one, it says the invention of the Middle East. It says the term was coined in 1902 by an American naval strategist named Alfred Thayer Mahan. It was popularized by the British military to describe the area between the Near East, which is the Balkans or the Ottoman Empire, and the Far East, which is China, Japan, things like that. Okay, the issue with that, it says, by using this term, historians effectively unplugged the region from its natural geographic and biological home. All right, which they say here it's Africa, but really it is Asia. Okay, where we are from is Southwest Asia. Okay, Southwest Asia, not Africa. All right. So it says the reality. It says geologically and culturally, the land of Israel, Jordan, and Lebanon sits on the African tectonic plate or the Arabian plate, which were once physically connected in ancient times. This entire area was often viewed as an extension of Northeast Africa. Again, we are from Southwest Asia. All right, they took the map, they drew their own lines and put different colors on different parts of that land, but it is southeast or southwest, excuse me, Southwest Asia. All right, that's where we're from. So, uh, what I did here before I turned the camera on, before I hit the button, all right, I put where, whom, and when did the term Middle East come into existence. It reads the term Middle East originated around 1900 to 1902 within British Imperial, naval, and geopolitical circles to describe the region between the Near East, which is the Ottoman Empire, and the Far East, which is East Asia. That's what they call it, right? It was popularized by American naval strategist Alfred Thayer Mahan in 1902 to identify the Persian Gulf region as a crucial strategic area for British interests. And even upon reading this, all right, I would rather check with the brothers to see if there's other information that's missing, all right, that I have not found. This is what is important about all these things that we learn. This is what is pertinent about this time today. Because even during these studies, and I'm still growing, all right, in knowledge and understanding, but I do see that even during this time of growth, this time of getting to know Yahweh and Yahushai, that things are being changed constantly. Esau is at work every day. All right, they do not stop. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's get this warning for Esau. All right, on a second here. What was that? Hold on. I gotta think of it. Okay, power. Oops. Okay, let's see. Hold on a second here. I'm gonna find this. Okay, this is it. Micah 2. Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. All right, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right, they're always at work. People can't go to sleep without working up some evil. Okay, thus saith the Lord, man. Okay, right there. Okay, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right. So I'll leave that up there for a minute. Let's get back here and read this again. Okay, so even with reading things like this, okay, I would rather go and ask a brother or, you know, learn more, all right, before I straight up say that the 1900 to 902 is when the term Middle East was popularized. But hey, it could be right. As long as the point is, the land called the Middle East in these days, all right, that land was not called the Middle East back then. Someone had to come and put those barriers up there, and they did it for a reason. Okay. So it says key details regarding its origin include, all right, the whom. It says the term is primarily attributed to Alfred Thayer Mahan, a U.S. naval officer who used it in a 1902 National Review article. The Persian, it's a quote, the Persian Gulf and international relations. Okay, it says it was subsequently adopted by British journalist Valentine Chirol, or Chirol. All right, to define the area including Persia, Iraq, and the Arabian Peninsula. The when, it says, while some sources suggest it was coined within the British India Office as early as the 1850s, it gained common usage only after 1902. The where, it says the term originated in London. It says British foreign policy / journalism circles. It says acting as a Eurocentric geographical label used to classify regions based on their distance from Western Europe. The purpose says it was designed to delineate British geopolitical interests in the Persian Gulf and to distinguish the region from the Near East, which is Turkey and the Balkans, and Far East, which is China and Japan. All right. So there's a little background on that you can go look at. All right. So to go on here, number 2, it says, hold on. This thing mixed it up again. Hold on. Okay, number 2, the erasure of the Afro-Asiatic connection. It says by labeling the region Middle East, the connection between the biblical patriarchs and it keeps bringing up Africa, and Africa is downplayed. Right? They keep trying to push this Africa shit, man. We're not from Africa. Okay, but what it is doing is by label how this should read is by labeling the region Middle East, the connection between the biblical patriarchs and the scattered Israelites is downplayed. All right. Or the melanated Israelites is downplayed. Anyway, it says the land of Canaan. It says in the Bible, Canaan, the land the Israelites inhabited, was the son of Ham. According to the Table of Nations, Ham is the progenitor of the dark-skinned African peoples: Cush, Ethiopia, Mizraim, Egypt. All right, Mizraim is Egypt. Cush is Ethiopia, and Put, which is Libya. All right, and yes, Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes, as it says in Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. When you look up Ham, all right, it says the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. All right. So it goes on to talk about one landmass. It says in ancient times there was no Suez Canal. You could walk from what we now call South Africa, all the way to what we now call Turkey, without crossing a single ocean. It was a contiguous landmass inhabited by people with similar physical traits. All right, so the Suez is where the Israelites did cross over um, uh, when they came out of Egypt. Okay, all right. So number 3, the whitewashing of geography. It says calling it the Middle East helps sustain the idea that the people there were distinct from blacks. If you call it Northeast Africa, the idea of we'll just put it, if you call it Southwest Asia, the idea of a white Messiah or a white Moses becomes geographically impossible. If you call it the Levant or the Middle East, it creates a buffer. It creates a buffer zone that allows Western art and history to depict the people as more European or olive-skinned, rather than acknowledging their deeper Afro-Asiatic roots. But what is olive-skinned? How many different colors are there of olives? There's the green, and most definitely, the Lord was not green. All right, what are the other 2 color olives? Okay, you can consider that. So I don't know what they're talking about right here about European or olive-skinned. Anyway, number 4, it says, what was it called then? It says in ancient times, the people who lived there didn't see themselves as Middle Eastern. They identified by their land and tribal lineage. It says Kemet, the name for Egypt, meaning land of the blacks or black land, which Kem, all right, which disregard what we just read there. But anyway, I'll just explain the Kem, all right. Chem is really ham. All right, that's how you say uh, ham. All right, chem. All right, it sounds like well, they made it sound like a K, Kemet. All right, which really it's chem. All right, ham. As far as Canaan slash Israel, it says that's the promised land, and the Levant. It says the Levant is a later term, but still more descriptive of the sunrise slash east than middle. All right, I hope that wasn't too confusing either. All right, so um, see what else did I put here? Hold on a second. Okay. The next thing I put here was Israelites are not even from Africa, but from South Southwest Asia. All right, remember it kept referring to Africa. Okay, so it says while modern geography classifies the Levant as Southwest Asia, you are correct. See that this region functioned as a contiguous part of the single cultural and biological landmass in ancient times. The distinction between Southwest Asia and Africa is a relatively modern geographical convention. In the ancient world, these regions were deeply intertwined. The geological connection that says the Levant, where the Israelites lived, is situated on the African tectonic plate. Before the before the construction of the modern Suez Canal, there was no physical water barrier separating the land of Israel from Egypt. And it talks about a land bridge. It says ancient Canaan, which is Israel, is frequently described by historians and archaeologists as a land bridge between Africa and Eurasia. All that over there is Asia, man. It's Asia, not Eurasia. Anyway, it was a crossroads where Northeast African and Southwest Asian populations mixed constantly. It says the Afro-Asiatic language family. The ancient Israelites spoke biblical Hebrew, right? Paleo-Hebrew. The Hebrew way you say that is the Lashawan Kodash. All right, Kodash means holy. Lashawan means tongue, all right? So you're speaking the holy tongue. The Hebrew that is more popularized today is the Assyrian Hebrew. All right, two totally different things, man. Okay, I mean, some things are similar, but we speak the Paleo Hebrew. That's what we spoke before, and this is the language that is coming back to us. All right. If you search up the language of Canaan and go to images, that is what will pop up. Is the Paleo Hebrew. All right, the Lashawan Kodash, the characters. All right. So let's see. The Afro-Asiatic language family. The ancient Israelites spoke Biblical Hebrew, which belongs to the Afro-Asiatic language family. This linguistic group includes languages spoken across both North Africa and Southwest Asia, reflecting a shared ancestral origin. Okay, biblical geography. It says in the Table of Nations in Genesis 10, Canaan is listed as a descendant of Ham, the same lineage as Mizraim and Cush, which is Egypt and Ethiopia. It says historically, this indicates that the ancient writers viewed the inhabitants of Canaan as part of the same ethnic and geographical family as the populations of Northeast Africa. While they are technically in Asia, by today's map standards, the ancient Israelites were an Afro-Asiatic people who shared more physical and cultural traits with the neighboring populations of Northeast Africa than with the peoples of Europe. There was no, all of that was Asia, man. Okay. So that's where I'm going to leave it at for now. Look these things up yourself. This is just reading from AI, and really, all right, these are things that I even need to learn about. Okay. But I know that we're not from no fucking Africa. We're from Southwest Asia. Okay. Southwest Asia. There was no such thing as a Middle East back then. All right. Even today, all right, again, going back to the portrayal of a white Messiah, all right, the world is starting to come to grips with that is a false portrayal of the Messiah. But then they go straight to speaking about how the Messiah was Middle Eastern, all right, because they would rather it be that than be a so-called black man again, all right, not that color tells you who you are, but it is important to know what the truth of the matter is, all right? So color is significant. All right, it's very significant when it comes to telling the truth. Okay, so you can go look up when the Middle East uh, was named such. You can go look up that Israel is not in Africa; it is in Southwest Asia. You can see how they started dividing up the maps, drawing their lines, and putting fucking different colors on there. And their word goes. That's what this world is. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay. So that was just a little quick video. Actually, it might be along the length of a regular video. But that was it for tonight. Oh, and it is, well, we'll get to that. But that's gonna be it. Hopefully this came through as sincere and edifying, and it at least acts as a guide towards your studies on this. All right. Um, so yeah, hope this came through as sincere and edifying. And with that, I'll say all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of the Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also I want to say Shalom, all right, Shabbat Shalom to the remnant and elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shabbat Shalom.